Hi, today is Thursday, August 28th, 2025. Tomorrow is Friday. I have a half day off in the afternoon, and Monday I have another full day holiday. So I'll be traveling down to Gwangju City tomorrow afternoon around like 2 p.m. Once I get there, I will till the land next to the cafe Silk Road, which is a beautiful artsy buffet restaurant slash cafe. You can check out the restaurant on Google Map, Cafe Silk Road. Then I will have a nice dinner with Cafe Silk Road lady. Then next morning I will be helping out another person harvesting peppers, hot chili peppers. Then I would be traveling to Suncheon City to check out the empty house, empty home, where the owner wants me to stay there during the weekend, every weekend. But as you know, I live in Seoul, so I cannot travel. I cannot live there every weekend. If I were to live in Gwangju City, as I had before, I should be able to live there every weekend. But since I am in Seoul, I can maybe stay there every other weekend or once or twice per month, right? But I would like to check out the empty countryside home. On Sunday, maybe I would just help my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, harvest grapes and some other fruits or vegetables in his patch of land. Right, he has a small land in Gwangju City, which is quite expensive, right? Very expensive. He bought it very cheap. So his profit is huge. Then on Monday, still I'm on holiday. I would just relax at home and come back to Seoul like in the afternoon, right? Like at 8 p.m. I would be here. I would be back to Seoul by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. and prepare for the next day, right? Tuesday. But come next Friday, it's my birthday, so I get to spend like 4 hours to myself in the afternoon by leaving my office early. I should be able to step out of my office Friday afternoon. So that's what my next 10-day schedule looks like. But as with other days, I would like to read this article so that I could practice English right here. This is my profile. I was with a 516th Personnel Service Company at Camp Henry. Now it's a 516th Personnel Service Battalion, right? I was a Katusha soldier. And I graduated from Jeonnam National University studying mechanical engineering. And I graduated from Songwon High School. That's a famous school in Gwangju City. But I am originally from Hwasun County. That's a large county south of Gwangju, right? So I'm a countryman originally. There are several articles that I would like to read today, but this one looks like interesting. Let's find out how Japan is preparing for the earthquake. This article is from Fact 27, and let's read this article to practice pronunciation and context learning, right? Along Japan's rail tracks, I think, rail corridors, flower strips serve a quiet purpose beyond color. and honey, maybe. This one is good. Rail corridors, flower strips. Yeah, we should be familiar with those expressions. Other pollinators to the verge. Railway teams can watch an incredibly sensitive living barometer. When the ground whispers, tiny precursors and the first faint tremors, behavior inside nearby hives often shifts in split seconds. Smart hives listen for those changes and ping the rail control system, adding one more early nudge to slow trains before stronger shaking arrives. It's not a replacement for conventional earthquake tech. It's a biological layer that buys moments where moments matter. The planting plan is deliberate. Native blooms staggered through the seasons, low-growing mixes that won't foul sightlines, and pesticide-free care so insects stay healthy and predictable. Each hive carries microphones and accelerometers that learn the colony's normal rhythm. Wing beat hum, footfall taps, ventilation fanning, and flag anomalies. Machine learning filters screen out false alarms from storms while passing trucks and only forward patterns that align with seismic signatures. Beyond safety, the verges become biodiversity corridors threading through dense neighborhoods. Schools adopt hives for science lessons. Stations host tiny pollinator gardens. And good, stations host tiny pollinator gardens. So I think residents come and till the land and care the flowers. Maybe they farm the land, farm the gardens, like planting sweet yams, potatoes. Residents learn the timetable of flowers by the tracks. The result is a rail system that remains guided by physics and sensors, but listens to nature too, turning wild wings into a subtle, citywide warning network. So basically it says a little bit strange expressions, but basically says the pollinators, their behavior shifts suddenly when there's a tremor or murmur on the ground, like precursors of earthquakes, like bee wings humming shift loudly, or they just make footfall sounds, right? Let's read these one more time, right? Along Japan's rail corridors, flower strips serve a quiet purpose beyond color. By drawing bees and other pollinators to the verge, on the verge, right, to the verge, shoulder of rail corridors, right, verge, rail teams can watch an incredibly sensitive living barometer. When the ground whispers, tiny precursors and the first faint tremors, behavior inside the nearby hives often shifts in split seconds, right? Faint tremors, that's good expression. The first faint tremors. Smart hives listen for those changes and ping the rail control system. That's good, ping, right? Adding one more early nudge. We would usually say one more early layer, warning layer, right? Nudge to slow trains before stronger shaking arrives. It's not a replacement for conventional earthquake tech. It's a biological additional layer that buys moments where moments matter. The planting plan is deliberate. Native blooms staggered through the seasons, That's good. Native blooms staggered through the seasons. Low-growing mixes that owned foul sightlines and pesticide-free care, so insects stay healthy and predictable, right? Low-growing mixes, right? Low grows, right? Low growing, like porcelain, or spurge, spotted spurge. They are low-growing mixes, and native blooms staggered through the seasons. Native blooms staggered through the seasons. Pesticide-free care, right? Each hive carries microphones and accelerometers that learn the colony's normal rhythm. Wing beat hum, right? Wing beat hum. That's good expression. Wing beat hum. Wing beat hum. Footfall taps. Ventilation fanning. And flag anomalies. Right? They make flag warnings when the hornets invade their hives, right? Wing beat hum. Wing beat hum. Machine learning filters screen out false alarms from storms or passing trucks and only forward patterns that align with seismic signatures. Beyond safety, the verges become biodiversity corridors threading through dense neighbors. Verges, I think shoulders also okay. Schools adopt hives for science lessons. Stations host tiny pollinator gardens, and right, it's a pollinator gardens. They just go out to the neighbors and pollinate a variety of plants and flowers, right? Pollinator gardens, and residents learn the timetable of flowers by the tracks because the native blooms are staggered through the seasons, right? Beyond safety, the verges become diversity corridors threading through dense neighborhoods. Schools adopt hives for science lessons, stations host tiny pollinator gardens, and residents learn the timetable of flowers by the tracks. The result is a rail system that remains guided by physics and sensors, but listens to nature too, turning wild wings into a subtle citywide warning network, right? Wild wings, turning wild wings or wing beat hums. Thanks for listening. Take care. Have a great day. But before I go, let's go over the expressions that I underlined to remember, right? Rail corridors, flower strips. Yeah, there are a lot of small strips in my patch of land next to Cafe Silk Road. There I help tilling, fertilizing, and harvesting. It's my crop. It's not my crops, but it's a Cafe Silk Road ladies' crops. But I'm just servant. I just help tilling the lands, making flower strips, vegetable strips. It's not on the verges of the Cafe Silk Road. It's about 30 meters or 25 yards away. So it's not on the verges, right? There's no it's not a pollinator garden, right? And there's no first faint tremors, and so the bees don't have to run away in split seconds, and it doesn't ping any warning system. It doesn't ping any signal to my smartphone, right? And there are native blooms are staggered throughout the seasons. Yeah, my patch of land also. Native blooms are staggered through the seasons, and there are many low-growing mixes such as purslane, spurge, and some other weeds. I would like to harvest the spotted spurges this weekend, maybe tomorrow, right? When I get there, like around 6 p.m. maybe. Wing beat hum. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.